this video, I wanted to follow up on my article that I did on light infantry fitness, hence the video Light Infantry Fitness. So, the unfortunate thing is there's a lot of people out there that believe that you can get fitness for light infantry work by doing like an hour of CrossFit. It's cute. It's really cute. But if that were the case, then I wonder why Ranger School is laid out the way it is. If you know anything about that, the first, week or two, you're literally just working out pretty much all day and getting hazed into the night. And that's just kind of how light infantry work is. And if you're not being worked out during Ranger School, then you're conducting operations with a lot of weight, and you're just constantly on the move or constantly being demanded to pay attention and give your all the time. That's how light infantry work is. You have to give your all the time, because if you don't, the team suffers. The team suffers, the team might not make it home. Okay? So that's the reality of light infantry work. So how do we do that in the gym? Well, a lot of people probably got upset when I wrote down that the best way to get prepared for light infantry work is to go away from the gym, as far away from the gym as possible, actually, and go home, get in gear, do macro circuits. What are macro circuits? Well, number one, it really blows people away, and I've seen the reactions in person when I tell people that CrossFit is not the way, and it is a scam, and when I tell people that going to the gym is not going to help them, and it too is basically a scam if they're trying to tell you that you're going to get light infantry fitness out of it. So, just because people who did like Ranger School would go to the gym now does not mean that they know the secrets to all this, because the secret is, it's so simple. It's macro circuits, because if you look at like any kind of work, like light infantry work, it's all about recovery. The ability to recover and take things in your stride. Strength, endurance, recovery, agility, and all that general mobility. It's something that you cannot get from doing like an hour workout. You might be able to go to the gym, yeah, but that's not the contributing factor to your capability. The general factor of your capability is that you have trained your body to keep moving for hours and 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 hours into the night, and hours and hours and hours and hours afterwards, without any rest. And you've demanded that your body recover quick, because guess what? It's going to do the same thing over and over again, and you better be able to perform. That's how you get light infantry fitness, because you want strength, endurance, and you want that fast recovery. You want to be able to take things in your stride and just be able to do it again in a couple of hours. So let's go back to macro circuits. I kind of had to take a step back to kind of explain myself there. So, and we already settled that an hour or two, workout in the morning and workout at night, for an hour each is not going to do it. You got to do it like all day. So I came up with this idea of macro circuits. I don't think it's original, but it's one way that I was replicating a lot of the stressors that I remembered from doing light infantry work. And a lot of that was like doing things over and over and over again, ridiculously into the night for like 20 hours straight. The macro circuits, I had like 4 activities, or at least 4 sections, I guess you could call it. A physical training section, each one of them lasting an hour of physical training, an hour of weapons training, an hour of reading, and I guess you could call it visuomotor training, or what have you, or neurological training, I guess you could say, brain training. So then you'd have the intermission time, which would be kind of your recovery time, I guess you could say. And that's kind of split between admin work and everything else. Now, I would do this 5 times. I would do this circuit 5 times, and these are macro circuits. So it's 20 hours total. So you're only going to get 4 hours of sleep, and I would do this for like almost a week straight. And it's not fun. But anyways, the PT would incorporate me running with a backpack that is equivalent to the weight of my belt kit, which is about 25 pounds. and depending on what it's loaded with. And I would do a 2 mile jog, 15 to 20 minutes. Then I would come back and I would do like 50 pull-ups, 100 push-ups, something like that. And then the rest of it would be burpees if I had any time left over. I would just be like, okay, I'll do 100 burpees. Immediately transition into my belt kit and, uniform and gear and everything, my line 1 and line 2 gear, maybe even my line 3 gear, depending on what I'm trying to train in. And then I would work on like weapons presentations and switch right into weapon training. So work on weapons presentations, reloads, the transitions, like target transitions and stuff like that. And in between each drill, I would do like burpees. So I'm continuing to do like physical training with my weapons training and incorporating that. And I'm just doing such high rep weapons training that my arms just get freaking burnt out. And it just gets pretty awful. And I like doing this in the summer when I'm really baking inside my garage or whatever, or even in my backyard. I'll also use this to do IMT training, like individual movement technique training. So going from a crawl to a kneeling movement, and then doing little presentations or doing like bounding drills and stuff like that, like general individual movement techniques with different skills like reloads and presentations and stuff like that. Really important skills. But anyways, I would do burpees in between all that, so it's just an hour of hell again, like continued on. And then after that, strip all that stuff off. If it's like line 3 gear, actually I don't strip anything off, not yet. The next stage would be the neurological stage of brain training phase, so you just basically lay down the weapon, you don't need to sling it, no need, and pick up a book. That book needs to be relevant to what you're doing, so maybe you need to be reading a manual on small unit tactics and actually trying to memorize that, because that's the point of reading it. It's not just, letting the words stand in front of your face because they're pretty. You're trying to actually gain that knowledge. So what you do is you lock out your arms with the book, you're reading the book, as you are lifting your knees as high as you can and gently setting them down like you're trying to be stealthy. And this is in your line 1, line 2, and even line 3, depending on whatever you're doing with your weapons training. That's going to demand balance. That's going to demand the tendons in your legs and in your ankles be on point. It's really going to stress everything out. And you have to do it as stealthy and as silently as possible. And you're doing constant high knees. So you have to focus and do what's called task switching. So you're trying to register all this information and memorize all this information in this manual, be sensitive about like what's going on around you with your peripheral vision only, and you're trying to coordinate doing high knees and being stealthy. So a lot going on. This is a lot of task switching. It's just like doing light infantry work where you're having to constantly be busy in the mind and take in new information and register that information, memorize information, and know it now. That's really what light infantry work is. It's not for idiots. It really is not. Some of the best people in the world are going to be found in light infantry units, like some of the best educated people. So some of the smartest people, at least. But anyways, after that you have your intermission period, and that is really where you change out of all that gear, get into PT gear, and then get ready for the cycle to prepare again. You lay out your clothing, your uniforms, and your gear to kind of air out a little bit. You don't want to be soaked when you get in it again. And then you maybe get a glass of water with some electrolytes in it, but that's about it. And then you continue the cycle over again. And you don't eat until after the 3rd cycle. The 3rd cycle, during the intermission stage, you can eat a little bit of something. Like I recommend just like a can of like ravioli or something small, because you're going to be going to PT like right afterwards. And so that's why a lot of the times, like, I just won't eat while I'm doing it. It's a lot. It's a lot of work to do, and it's a heck of a commitment. And some people are like, well, I work all day, and I have a job, so I can't really do it. Well, you do have weekends. Well, I've got a family and stuff, but you're wanting to prepare for the apocalypse. Okay, but here's what it really comes down to. I'm telling you, that's the only way you're really going to get a high level of fitness that's directly translated to light infantry work, is to do light infantry stuff and replicate that, but do it in a training format. So it is stressful, and it is under the context of training. You're going to have to do that for like a week, 2 weeks, once a month, something like that. So you're replicating operations as a light infantryman. The only way to prepare for being a light infantryman is to practice being a light infantryman. You can't go to the CrossFit gym and, do that for an hour or two and get the same results. You just can't. Your body is not designed to give you those kinds of rewards just because you want them that bad. You have to actually apply and try for the amount of time that you're trying to get your body to be adapted to that, activity. You have to do that activity for your body to get adapted to that activity, is what I'm trying to say. So it really boggles my mind that people think that they can do like 1 hour of work or 2 hours of work and achieve the same result and the same capability as if they were to do 20 hours of work, nearly non-stop. Now, of course, there's little breaks in between on those 4-hour circuits. There's like, you could call it an hour or a half hour, depending on how much time you need to take administratively sorting yourself out. Maybe you need to make little gear adjustments or whatever. So maybe you need to alter drills or whatever, fix targets, maybe change locations, pet the dog, spank the kid, whatever. But, that's just the reality of things. It's not fun. But, people think that they can take shortcuts, and that was the point of me making this video, is to tell you you cannot take shortcuts if you really want to achieve that. And if you can't, you can't. Then, give up on this idea that you're going to be, get light infantry fitness. Because to do light infantry stuff competently, you need to at least have that physical capability and ability. If you can't train like a light infantryman, then you're not going to be able to be trained like a light infantryman. You can have an idea of the skills required, but until you're actually able to be exposed to and reach the level of strength, endurance, and recovery, you're not going to be physically capable of doing light infantry work, not legitimately. I mean, you can have that skill set, sort of, but if you're struggling to get an hour or two of workout in, how much time are you really able to commit to skill training? How much are you really able to commit to resource development, network development, for that sustainment? You're not in the military, so where are you getting this idea that you have all this logistics support? Where is this all coming from? Because light infantrymen still require light infantry, gear, resources, food, water. They have to acquire that or be given that and be resupplied. Where's that coming from? So there's a lot of things to hash out, but we're just talking about the physical capability and ability part. So anyways, I just wanted to make a video about that because it's a frustrating topic that I get asked about a good amount. And I just wanted to touch on that because that's pretty much all I do, is I actually develop these things. And, yeah, it's kind of boring, but it's kind of entertaining, but it's also how you enter the suck on a daily basis. But anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. I know I've been kind of struggling to find video topics to do lately because there's really not much that I can cover that won't get me canceled these days. But anyways, I'll do the best I can with what I got. But anyways, check out my Rumble, and if you want to see like gun videos or whatever, because that'll get me canceled for sure. But anyways, I appreciate your guys' support, and if there's any haters out there, you gotta love the haters too. They give me something to someone to talk to, and I don't talk nice. But anyways, wish you all the best, and you guys have a good one.